Dogs get chipped, but what about people? I'm Kurt the Cyber Guy, and it's standard operating procedure to chip our pets so we can always keep track of them in case of an emergency or they get lost. Now, back in 1998, a chip was first implanted into a human being, and in the past decade, the technology has become more commercially available. A Las Vegas influencer has even garnered millions of followers online after revealing she has a chip implanted in her hand, and she uses it to open doors and drawers around her gigantic house. She has a radio frequency identification implant, or RFID chip, which is one of the various types of microchip implants available in the market. Now, while they're available, it's extremely important to note that having a medical procedure to implant a chip in one's body should only be done by a qualified professional, if at all. You can imagine the idea of microchips being implanted into humans raises ethical and privacy concerns. Think about it. Some of these chips are basically collecting and storing personal information that could potentially be accessed without consent. Would you ever consider a microchip implant? Let me know your thoughts about it over at cyberguy.com. And while you're there, sign up for my free newsletter.
Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Akakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the artists of great millstone, whose land is true from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I just want to go into the clip, that I featured in the beginning, which is pretty much going into, the mark of the beast, and also pretty much, what, we're pretty much headed towards. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. I'm going to bring out a couple of scriptures. I'm going to start in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 19, and it says, "They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity." Now, yes, ultimately, it's going into the elite, because, their riches won't be able to save them, in the day of the Lord. But ultimately, on a smaller level, it's talking about, pretty much this system collapsing, because that's what's happening. And a prime example of that, would be, the Silicon Valley Bank, pretty much, taking everyone's money. Everyone's, in an uproar about it because they don't, the bank took their money and now they can't take it back out, So pretty much all these big banks are going to collapse, and it's pretty much going to lead, to this. I'm going to go to the book of Isaiah chapter 36 and verse 6, and it says, "Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him." And yes, that's pretty much what's happening, To everyone that trusts in this system, they're going to get that device implanted in their hands, Because that's ultimately how they're going to be able to, sustain and live in, the society to come, because once this world, once the world economy collapses, that's pretty much how people are going to be able to live and survive, is if they have that device. It's how they're going to be able to, buy and sell, ultimately. So I'm going to go to the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. And it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, with the number of his name." Here for his wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, yes, the mark of the beast is the RFID CHIP, the implantable device that's going to be put into people's hands if they want to continue to, live in this beast system, but ultimately, the people that get it is going to come with a cost. People don't understand that once they get that device implanted, it's like they're pretty much saying that Esau Edom is their God, This is the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 2, and it says, And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them that worshipped his image. Now, yes, that grievous sore is going into, the, wherever, primarily in people's hands, is going to leave a grievous sore. Ultimately, it's going to be cancer, because you weren't supposed to, first and foremost, going back to the law, you weren't supposed to make, markings or cut into your flesh for the dead, and ultimately, putting that device in your body is ultimately going to give you cancer. Now, I'm not giving any medical advice, whatsoever, but it's true. That's ultimately what it's going to do, because that device is going to be emitting radiation, This is the book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 20. And it says, And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them which had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake burning with fire and brimstone. Slakia. Into a lake of fire. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. Yes, that's going to be the judgment for those that receive the mark of the beast, because, that's what's going to happen. Ultimately, those people that think getting that device is going to save their lives, but ultimately it's going to lead to their demise, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to you. It's like you, due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Horland, and Strew from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Until the next time I say Shalom.